Hi everyone, welcome to today's assignment. Today we're going to work on creating arguments. So our goal by the end will be to be able to write an argumentative statement. This feels like a pretty simple concept, but we're going to start doing it with some more complicated ideas. So I kind of want to go through that process. So first we'll start with some simple ones. I'll read out 4 different statements. For each one, think about whether you think it's argumentative or not argumentative. The first one, the sky is blue. Dogs are better than cats. My favorite food is pizza. Saturday is the best day of the week. So the sky is blue, that would not be argumentative. That's mostly accepted as fact that the sky is blue. Dogs are better than cats. We could argue back and forth about that one. My favorite food is pizza. Can't really argue about what my favorite food is. So the way that one is written, that would not be argumentative. Then Saturday is the best day of the week. We could argue about that one. So whether you realize it or not, these are some steps that you go through when you're thinking about how to create an argument. First, you think of a topic. When we do it for our work, we're going to use the multicultural lens because we're going to link it back to the reading that we're doing. So you think of a topic, you kind of make a list of things you know about it so far. You think of an aspect of it that is arguable, and then you pick a side and state your opinion on it. So we go through these steps when we're using a simple concept. When we're using a more complicated concept, I just want to slow these steps down and kind of go through each one. So when we're thinking of a topic, the place I would start is with just the categories of the multicultural lens. So like, your topic can be power or feeling like an outsider or stereotypes. I'm going to use power as my first example, and I'm going to go through it once, and I'm going to come up with a very specific idea. Like there's hundreds of different things I could argue about under the multicultural lens with power. So the topic I'm going to use is power, and I'm thinking about those subcategories. Who has the power? In what way is it created, kept, shown? In what way is the group not in power oppressed? So when I move on to step 2, which is making a list of things that I know about it so far, I'm going to think about those different aspects of power. So I know that in the book, the white people have the power. The Indian people do not have the power. The Indian people feel oppressed by the power of the white people. So I'm making a list of things I know about it so far in context of the book. The next thing I'm going to do is think of an aspect of it that's arguable. And again, there's 100 different things that I could pick out. The thing that's standing out to me right now with where we're at in the book is that Arnold's going somewhere different. He's thinking about going to this different school, Rearden. We've seen him kind of start assimilating into there, maybe not so well. So I'm keeping track of the things that I've done already. But I'm thinking about whether or not this is a good decision for Arnold. And I'm kind of putting it on 2 different sides. Like, is he brave for going and doing this thing? Or is he kind of naive? Like he's unwilling to accept the reality of his situation. So my question, the arguable thing I'm thinking about is Arnold brave or naive for thinking that he can overcome the power dynamics with his decision to go to Rearden? So I have my back and forth. Like someone could argue that he's brave for this. Someone could argue that he's naive for this. I can think about both sides as I'm going through it. And then finally, I'm going to pick a side and I'm going to state my opinion on it. That should pretty much just be a 1-sentence statement. So I'm going to pick whether I think Arnold is brave or Arnold is naive. So my argument for number 4 ends up being Arnold is naive because he does not realize the power dynamics he is attempting to overcome. So if I can say it in 1 sentence, if there's another side, so I can say, okay, what could someone else argue? Someone else could argue that he's not naive for this decision. So if it has those 2 things, if it's a statement, and if someone can disagree with it, if there's another side to it, then you've created an argument. The hard part is thinking about what are those things I know about it, making sure that it's something that's worth arguing about, and then kind of turning it into that statement. So these are all the steps we're going to go through. So what you're actually going to do for today's assignment is you are going to create 3 argumentative statements. You're going to use the multicultural lens from the Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian and apply it to whatever part of the text that you want. So you can reuse an idea, like you can do power twice, then you can do language once, like you can use whatever categories that you want to use. One time I'm going to have you go through it step by step, and the other 2 times I'll have you just jump to that last step, so you'll do those steps more in your head as you're moving forward.